Hey guys, hope you're having a wonderful day today. And in this video, we're going to have yet another great laugh at the modern audience. Check it out over on Reddit. The post, How to Guide Young People Away from the Chud Influencers We Jerk About. So some quick context here, this is a discussion page for the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit. If you're not familiar with that subreddit, it's basically just a bunch of like modern audience types who constantly want to defend corporations and incessantly whine about gamers and things like that. Anyways, enough about their slop, now on to their tears. Once again, the title, How to Guide Young People Away from the Chud Influencers We Jerk About. The post going on to read, as you may know from my biography, I'm something of a suit emeritus for a renewable energy firm. Even though I am nominally retired, the board likes to call me in every once in a while to vet some interviewees in a more personal, holistic way. I'm cordial and pop culture savvy enough to catch young people off guard. It gets us unscripted responses. Those are the make or break. The higher-ups want to make sure we don't hire someone who looks good on paper, but becomes a problem once they're in the office. I've dealt with too much of that in my prime. It never ends well. Which brings me to the other day. I was on Zoom call with a promising applicant, a young man, Generation Z, strong STEM credentials, a medical internship of some sort, etc. I don't remember everything. Ever since the shock, my memory isn't what it used to be. But what concerned me was that the boy name-dropped Asmongold, as if it were a thing to be proud of. I'm really at a loss here. You all know full well Asmongold is fundamentally incompatible with a decent person's values. So I'm afraid I may have shown my hand. I said something along the lines of, "Oh please, not the cockroach man." But the applicant seemed genuinely confused. What's wrong with him? How do we stop this sort of thing? I see it more and more these days. Part of me wants to encourage the board to vet social media more intensely, but I prefer the personal touch. Is there a way to debunk these young people in real time? So yeah, this is like peak modern audience corpo stuff right here. And I especially love at the end how he's like, is there a way to debunk these young people in real time? Like, what is that even supposed to mean exactly? Debunk what specifically? It sounds like he just can't stand that there are people who don't follow the modern audience slop stuff that this guy follows, and he needs to find, like, desperately try and find some way to debunk them. And I don't even really get how debunk is the proper word here. Like, the whole thing is a weird thing to say and it doesn't really make sense to me. So my takeaway is that these people are desperate and they don't even make sense. Anyways, the comedy doesn't end there because one of the top responses is this, and it reads, I think a big issue is that the narrative that, quote, progressivism is the new mainstream, unquote, has taken strong root, and no young person wants to be seen as not countercultural. So let's pause already because that's not even a new thing. For plenty of years now, those viewpoints have been shoved onto people from all levels of government to massive corporations and major multinational asset firms. In other words, it's been the mainstream. So let's continue. They say, this is further reinforced by all of the anti-woke media figures being most popular in alt media spaces like Twitch and YouTube, rather than the traditional cable news/talk show environment. I think pro-equality figures need to become masters of alt media spaces, and also learn how to debate the ideas of anti-wokeness on a substantive level. Yes, the memes about Asmon being greasy are funny, but attacking the person doesn't defeat the ideas they propagate. For me, personally, one thing that most moved me away from my conservative upbringing was seeing progressive YouTubers like Cenk Uygur, Hassan Piker, Stephen Bonnell, and Ian Kaczynski debating the likes of Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, and Tim Pool. The left can meme, but they need to learn how to persuasively argue. I also don't know why this person is pretending to care about equality when their line of thinking constantly pushes equity, not equality. For example, the DEI stuff they constantly propagate and defend. The E stands for, once again, equity, not equality. To be fair, maybe this person doesn't actually agree with the equity thing. We would need them to elaborate on that a little bit more, so I just thought it was funny, but I'm willing to give them benefit of the doubt. Here's a response that actually got minus 24 downvotes, so people there are not happy with this one. Let's see what it says. I understand the concern, but Asmongold's actually a pretty positive influence for a lot of young guys. He's real, honest, and built his platform through hard work, which makes him relatable in a world full of fake personas. He talks openly about mental health and burnout, which helps break the stigma around those topics. Plus, he encourages thinking for yourself and isn't afraid to call out toxic behavior in gaming spaces or his own chat. People look up to him because he's authentic, not because he promotes harmful ideas. Might be worth asking why this person admires him before jumping to conclusions. There could be a number of reasons for this boy, not all are bad. And the most upvoted response to that response is this one that says, nah, he's a chud. and any benefit he theoretically is doing by talking about mental health is directly counteracted by him being an awful, disgusting human being who believes other human beings are lesser for trying to actually be authentically themselves. The only thing he's authentic about him is that, wait, what? The only thing he's authentic about him is that his outside 100% reflects what's inside. They would get a response that also got -10 downvotes saying, I find some of his gaming takes is questionable, but Zach never deserved reputation he has in certain circles. He's a very simple and poorly educated guy, but I don't find him evil. Most of his views are even quite progressive. There are much worse influencers like Tate or Elon. There are much worse influencers like Tate or Elon, excuse me. Response there says, he has control over his sub, channels, and editors. If he really wanted to push the progressive stuff, he would, but he allows the dumb and gamer stuff to propagate and be his main narratives. I don't think he's as bad as Tate or Elon, but he doesn't do a lot to beat the allegations. So the allegations here are that he doesn't pander to modern audience type rhetoric. Okay. And finally, we'll take a look at this exchange where the OP is also responding. So thought this one was rather interesting. The first comment here reads, what exactly are you trying to debunk? Asmongold is simple-minded, but he is not exactly dangerous or ambitious. Maybe it's time to retire for good. You can spend more time on not getting invited to anything. To which the OP says, he may not be consciously dangerous. I've not watched him. I only know him by reputation through the circle jerk side of this community. But, oh gosh. I was going to pause and comment on this after. I don't think I can make it, bro. We got to comment on this really quick. So, this self-proclaimed suit, this corpo dude, is seriously taking a circle jerk subreddit's opinion on someone and running with that unironically as if it's just like objective fact. Like, oh, I haven't watched him myself. I haven't actually made my own opinion on him based off what I've seen. No, but the circle jerk people said that he's a terrible person, so clearly they're right. Clearly that person's got to be terrible. How do we debunk him? And how do we debunk people like him? It's shocking that this dude doesn't see how terrible of a take that is. Please get some self-awareness. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me try getting through this comment again now without the pause. My apologies. He may not be consciously dangerous. I have not watched him. I only know him by reputation through the circle jerk side of this community, but he often associates with those who are. Why such a flippant and rude reply? Be a nicer human, please. There is enough vitriol in today's world. Says the person who takes character assassination posts on one of the most toxic subreddits out there as objective fact. And lastly, the other person says, I'll get right to work on being a pompous, self-appointed, nicer human. I don't see much of a difference between these associates of Asmongold and the circle jerkers. And that's the end of it. The OP never responded in that chain once again, so we'll leave it there. You know, I probably should have made a disclaimer at the beginning of this video that you might lose some like brain cells from reading this stuff, but I guess it's a little late now. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed the coverage. You know, it was funny at least. Kind of also like pathetic, but funny. If you like what I had to say and you like the coverage and all that, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel as well. Appreciate your support, and let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.